PE, Grade 8, Week number 1. Our lesson, Health-Related Fitness. Physical fitness. Before we understand health-related fitness, we have to define physical fitness. Physical fitness is defined as a condition in which an individual has enough energy to avoid fatigue and enjoy life. Ang ibig sabihin nito, class, kapag ikaw ay nakaagawa ng iba't ibang bagay nang hindi basta-basta napapagod, o hindi naman kaya hindi ka basta-basta nagkakasakit, you can consider yourself as a physically fit person. There are two types of physical fitness. The first one is health-related fitness. The second one is the skills-related fitness. In this lesson, we will focus on health-related fitness, and later on, we will discuss skills-related fitness. Health-related fitness. Let's define. It is the ability to become and stay physically healthy. It focuses more of your physical health. So para malaman natin kung ikaw ay talagang malusog, kinakailangan daw itest natin kung in terms of health-related fitness, you are truly healthy. To do that, there are 5 components of health-related fitness. Merong 5 component para malaman kung talagang healthy ka in terms of health-related. And these are flexibility, muscular strength, muscular endurance, cardiovascular strength, and body composition. Let's discuss the first one. Flexibility. The ability of muscle to bend into full range of motion without having injury. In this type of health-related component, kinakailangan daw natutupi mo ang iyong katawan nang hindi ka basta-basta nagkakaroon ng injury. That is flexibility. Para malaman natin kung gaano ka-flexible ang katawan mo, may kinakailangan tayong test na gawin. At ang pinakasimpleng test para magawa yun is the zipper test. Paano nga ba ginagawa ito? Panoorin natin.
Zipper test. For the performer, stand erect. Raise your right arm, bend your elbow, and reach down across your back as far as possible to test the right shoulder. Extend your left arm down and behind your back, bend your elbow up across your back, and try to reach or cross your fingers over those of your right hand as if to pull a zipper or scratch between the shoulder blades. To test the left shoulder, repeat the same procedure with the left hand over the left shoulder. For the partner, observe whether the fingers touched or overlap each other. If not, measure the gap between the middle fingers of both hands. Record the distance in centimeter. Scoring. Record the gap overlap to the nearest 0.1 centimeter.
So that is the zipper test. Kinakailangan maintindihan nyo yun dahil yun ang sasagutan nyo sa module. Let's proceed to the next. The next component is muscular strength. It is the capacity of muscles to exert or resist force. Ang ibig lang sabihin nito, gaano ba kalakas ang iyong muscles. To test that, we use push-up. Always remember that there are 2 types of push-up. One for boys, and the other one is for girls. To understand that more, let's watch this video.
Push up. For the performer, lie down on the mat, face down in standard push-up position. Palms on the mat about shoulder width, fingers pointing forward, and legs straight, parallel, and slightly apart with the toes supporting the feet. For boys, straighten the arms, keeping the back and knees straight. Then lower the arms until there is a 90-degree angle at the elbows. Upper arms are parallel to the floor. For girls, with knees in contact with the floor, straighten the arms, keeping the back straight. Then lower the arms until there is a 90-degree angle at the elbows. Upper arms are parallel to the floor. Perform as many repetitions as possible, maintaining a cadence of 20 push-ups per minute. 2 seconds going down, and 1 second going up. For the partner, as the performer assumes the position of push-up, start counting as the performer lowers his or her body until he or she reaches 90-degree angle at the elbow. Make sure that the performer executes the push-ups in the correct form. The test is terminated when the performer can no longer execute the push-ups in the correct form, is in pain, voluntarily stops, or cadence is broken. Scoring. Record the number of push-ups made.
So that's we do push-ups for boys and for girls. The next one is muscular endurance. Is the capacity of muscles or group of muscles to exert force over an extended period of time. Sa muscular strength, ang sinusukat natin gaano kalakas ang muscles mo. Sa muscular endurance, gaano ito katatag. So para malaman natin kung gaano ba talaga katatag o katibay ang iyong muscles, the most simple test to be used is the basic plank. Let's watch this video.
Basic plank. For the performer, assume a push-up position. Rest body on forearms with palms and fingers flat on the floor. Elbows are aligned with the shoulders. Legs are straight with ankles, knees, and thighs touching together. Support weight on forearms and toes. Make sure that your back is flat. Head, neck, and spine are in a straight line. Keep abdominals engaged or contracted. Do not let stomach drop or allow hips to rise. For the partner, ensure the availability of a mat or smooth flooring or anything that can protect the forearms. Give the signal go and start the timepiece. Make sure that the back of the head, neck, spine, and ankles are in a straight line. Stop the time when the performer can no longer hold the required position or when the performer has held the position for at least 90 seconds. Holding the plank position beyond 90 seconds is considered unnecessary. Scoring. Record the time in the nearest seconds or minute.
So that is basic plank. Unlike push-up, basic plank is for both male and female. So walang dalawang klase. Iisa lang ang gagawin ng babae at lalaki. The fourth one, cardiovascular strength, is the capacity of heart, blood vessels, and respiratory system to supply oxygen efficiently over an extended period of time. Cardio means heart, and vascular means the supply of oxygen. So, ang sinusukat naman sa cardiovascular strength, mga bata, ay yung stamina mo. Gaano ka ba kabilis o katagal mapagod? So, ano nga ba ang test para malaman yun? The most simplest test and effective one is the 3 minutes step test. Paano ba yung ginagawa? Let's watch this video.
3-minute step test. For the performer, position at least 1 foot away from the step or bench. At the signal go, step up and down the step or bench for 3 minutes at a rate of 24 steps per minute. One step consists of 4 beats, that is, up with the left foot, count 1, up with the right foot, count 2, down with the left foot, count 3, down with the right foot, count 4. Immediately after the exercise, locate your pulse and wait for the signal to start the counting. Don't talk while taking the pulse beat. Count the pulse beat for 10 seconds. Multiply it by 6. For the partner, as the student assumes the position in front of the step, signal ready and go. Start the stopwatch for the 3-minute step test. For the partner, as the student assumes the position in front of the steps, signal ready and go. Start the stopwatch for the 3-minute step test. After the test, allow performer to locate his or her pulse in 5 seconds. Give the signal to count the pulse beat. Let the performer count his or her pulse beat for 10 seconds and multiply it by 6. Scoring. Record the 60-second heart rate after the activity.
So that is the 3-minute step test. The last one is body composition. It is the percent of fat, bone, and other tissues to lean body mass. Ang sinusukat lang natin dito ay kung tama ba or proportion ba ang taba mo at muscles mo sa buong katawan mo. The perfect test to use in this type of fitness is the body mass index or simply BMI. Ano nga ba ang BMI? Body mass index or BMI is a measure of body fat based on height and weight. So para malaman natin effectively kung healthy ka in terms of body composition, kinakailangan daw malaman ang iyong height at weight. When we say height, that is the distance between feet on the floor to the top of the head in standing position. And weight, the heaviness or lightness of a person. To get the BMI, we must first measure your height. Materials, tape measure, tape and book. Units to be used is meter. To understand how to measure a height properly, let's watch this video.
So make sure your diver has taken off his shoes, that he's wearing close-fitting, thin clothing, and have him stand straight right over the masking tape on the wall. You'll need an object that has 2 straight edges. You can use a binder or a board. In this case, we're using a set square. With your diver standing straight, place the tool on top of the diver's head and square it to the wall. Once you've got the level, mark your tape. Now, I like to check my measurements 2 or 3 times, so please step forward, relax a little bit, and step back, and let's measure again to make sure. If I don't get the same measurements, I will measure 2, 3, or 4 times. This is really crucial to get the most accurate measurements possible. And again, square the object to the wall and to your diver's head, and mark. So this top mark equals the diver's total height.
After measuring your height, we will measure your weight. Materials, weighing scale. Units to be used, kilogram. To properly measure your weight, let's watch this video.
Hello, my name is Maria and this is Matthew, my mascot. In this lesson, we're going to be measuring in kilograms. We're going to find the weight of certain things using kilograms. And we use kilograms when we have sort of medium heavy things, not real light things. For example, I couldn't weigh this marker pen using kilograms. And I have a scales here that measures in kilograms. And we're going to use it in this lesson. And now I'm going to step on it. Okay, can you see how much I weigh? I'm very near 60 kilograms with my shoes and everything on. So maybe 59 or 59 and a half. Yeah. Okay, here's a child, a 7-year-old girl. And can you see how much she weighs? Okay, it is 2 little lines past 20, so she weighs 22 kilograms. Okay, and here is an adult man. I need to see what it... Okay, can you see how much he weighs? It is just 1 line past 90, so it is 91 kilograms. Now let's weigh this bag. Or try. As you can see, it covers the scale. We cannot weigh it here on the scale like this. But what I can do is I can weigh myself with and without the bag. So let's do that. I'll weigh myself with the bag. Okay, how much is it? It is just one line before 65, so now I am 64 kilograms. And I'm gonna drop the bag and I go back to about 59. So how much does the bag weigh? Think of the numbers 59 and 64 and the difference. It is 5 kilograms. Oh, Matthew has something to say. What's that, Matthew? Oh, he wants to step on the scales. But Matthew, I mean, we can't weigh very light things like you are. We can't weigh you in kilograms. Oh, still, he is insisting. Okay, I'll let him go. Okay. Go there. You see, Matthew, you're not tipping the scales any. I told you. Oh, well. But now you are ready to go find the scales that measures in kilograms and weigh yourself and some other things. And we're all done with this lesson.
After getting your weight and height, we are now ready to compute your BMI. Always remember, height must be in meters and weight should be in kilograms. To compute that, we need to follow a formula. The formula is BMI is equal to weight over height squared. To know how to solve, let's watch this video.
Hi, this is Presh Talwalkar. In this video, I'm going to explain the mathematical formula for the body mass index, also known as the BMI. BMI is a way to estimate body fat from the two variables of weight and height. One way is to divide your weight in kilograms by your height in meters and square it. The equivalent formula in pounds and inches is to take your weight in pounds, multiply by 703, and divide it by your height in inches squared. So while the BMI gets talked about a lot, it's actually a relatively simple formula that's a ratio of your weight and height. So let's do an example of someone who weighs 200 pounds and has a height of 5 feet 10 inches. We convert that to 70 inches, and the BMI will be 200 times 703 divided by 70 squared. This is 28.7. To make sense of this number, we look at the different ranges. Below 18 is considered underweight, 18.5 to 24.9 is considered normal weight, 25 to 29.9 is overweight, and above 30 is considered the definition for obesity. So a BMI of 28.7 is in the range of overweight. We can similarly look at BMI by the following table. You can look and locate where your height and weight are, and it'll tell you which range you're in. So a person who is 200 pounds and 5 feet 10 would be about where the black dot is, which is in the range of being overweight. I hope you like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. You can support me on Patreon for exclusive rewards. Catch me on my blog Mind Your Decisions, on Twitter at Presh Talwalkar, and you can get my books listed on my website.
So that is how we compute our BMI. That's all. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something. God bless everyone. Health Grade 8, Week 1. Our lesson, Basic Terms in Sexuality. Before we understand the basic terms in sexuality, we have to define what is sexuality. Human sexuality is the expression of sexual receptivity. It is how an individual perceives a man being a man and a woman being a woman. Being man is different from being a woman in a lot of ways, in terms of physical appearance, in terms of expressing emotions, and in terms of thinking. The totality of these two, or three, or all of the aspects affecting man and woman is what we call human sexuality. Sa Tagalog, o sa mas simpleng paliwanag, iba mag-isip ang lalaki sa babae. Iba rin ang damdamin ng bawat isa. Iba rin kung paano sila makitungo sa iba't ibang tao. Kapag daw pinagsama-sama yun, ang tawag yun ay human sexuality. We have here two symbols. The symbol of being a male and the symbol of being a female. Let us remember that in understanding sexuality, it is not only restricted in these two symbols. That's why we have to understand the basic terms used in sexuality. So what are the basic terms in sexuality? The first one is sex. It is the biological basis of being male or female, determined by sex organ, and it is also God-given. Always remember, class, na para malaman kung ano ang sex o kasarian ng isang tao, ang pinagbabasihan lamang ay kung anong sex organ meron siya. Alam natin na if that is male, the sex organ is penis. The female sex organ is vagina. That's why before, nalaman ng magulang natin na tayo babae at lalaki dahil nung tayo pinagbubuntis pa lamang, nalaman sa ultrasound na tayo lalaki dahil ikaw ay merong sex organ na pang lalaki. Ganun din sa babae. So, lagi niyong tatandaan, ang sex, ang basihan para malaman ay kung anong sex organ meron ka. That is sex. The second basic term in sexuality is gender. Gender is a social concept on how men and women should think, feel, and act. It's a personal choice of sexuality, determined by your mind. Always remember, class, na ang gender ay kung paano ka mag-isip, makaramdam, at umakto bilang lalaki o babae. Hindi katulad ng sex, ito ay pinili mo. Ang sex, bigay ng Diyos. Ang gender, ikaw mismo ang pumili kung anong gusto mong maging kasarian. It is determined by your mind. Dahil ang gender, habang lumalaki ka, kung paano mo nakikita ang sarili mo, yun ang ginusto mong kasarian. Hindi dinikta kung anong sex organ meron ka. Yan ang pagkakaiba ng sex sa gender. Uulitin ko, ang sex, kung anong kasarian mo, yun ka. Pag ikaw ay may penis, lalaki ka. Pag ikaw ay may vagina, babae ka. That is sex. Pero kapag gender, kung anong nasa isip mo na ikaw yun, yun ka. Kung ikaw ay lalaki, pero ayaw mong maging lalaki at gusto mong maging babae, so be it. That is allowed in gender. O di naman kaya, vice versa, sa babae. Kaya tatandaan natin sa gender, hindi lang ito nare-restrict sa pagiging babae at pagiging lalaki. Actually, gender has three types. The first type is heterosexual. These are person that is attracted to opposite sex. So pag sinabi daw heterosexual, ito yung mga tao na nagkakagusto sa kasalungat niyang kasarian. Ito ang pinakaalam natin. Ito ang normal. Male is attracted to female. Kung yan ang nararamdaman mo, ibig sabihin, you are a heterosexual person. Female attracted to male. Kung ikaw naman ay babae at nagkakagusto ka sa lalaki, ang tawag sa'yo, female, in terms of gender. At kapag ito ay normal, tinatawag itong heterosexual. Pero may mga tao na hindi heterosexual. Sila ay tinatawag na homosexual. These are person that is attracted to same sex. Ito yung mga tao na nagkakagusto sa kapareho na kasarian. Halimbawa, gay, attracted to male. O sa Tagalog, bakla. Lesbian, attracted to female. O sa Tagalog, tibo. Isang babaeng nagkakagusto sa kapwa babae. Ang tawag sa kanila ay homosexual person. Sila ay under din ng gender. At ang pinakahuli is bisexual. Person that is attracted to same sex or both male and female. May mga tao na pwedeng magkagusto sa lalaki at pwede din sa babae. Ibig sabihin, may mga tao na pwede sa kahit ano. Kapag ikaw ay ganitong tao, ang tawag sa'yo ay bisexual. These are the 3 types of gender. The next term is gender role. Refers to set of roles, characteristics, expectation of how a man or a woman should think, feel, and act. It is influenced by parents, peers, someone at your own level, and society. Lagi natin tatandaan na kapag sinabing gender role class, ito yung inaasahan sa'yo ng society dahil ikaw ay lalaki at babae. Tama kayo. Bilang lalaki, merong inaasahan na dapat ginagawa mo dahil lalaki ka. Ganon din naman ang mga babae. Ang tawag natin doon ay gender role. Sino ba ang nagturo ng role natin? Actually, habang lumalaki tayo, iba-iba sila. Ang pinakaunang nakaapekto o naka-impluensya sa ating role ay ang ating mga magulang. Hindi lang natin napapansin, pero nung bata tayo, nalaman natin na dahil nalaman nila na ikaw ay lalaki, lahat ng sinusuot mo, lahat ng laruan mo, mga panglalaki. Yun ang role mo. Kapag naman ikaw ay babae, binibihisan ka na pang babae at binibilang ka ng mga gamit na pambabae. Nung lumaki ka, ang naka-apektuhan sa'yo ay ang peers. Mas malawak na. Ito naman ay yung mga kaibigan mo. Nalaman mo na ang baril-barilan, na ang mga laruang panlalaki ay para sa lalaki. At ang mga Barbie o dollhouse ay larong pang babae. At nung ikaw ay nag-aral na at nagtrabaho, doon mo mas nalaman na dapat ang lalaki ang nililigaw sa babae, ang babae ang nililigawan. Ang tawag natin doon, mga bata, ay gender role. Alam natin na kung minsan, pwede naman din gawin ng babae ang ginagawa ng lalaki or vice versa. Pero pag sinabing gender role, ano ba yung accepted dahil lalaki ka na dapat ginagawa mo? At ganoon din sa pagiging babae. Magbigay tayo ng mga halimbawa. Male. The first one that is expected to you is to be a breadwinner. Ikaw daw ang talagang dapat nagtatrabaho dahil lalaki ka. Pangalawa, you protect the family. Dahil lalaki ka, ikaw ang mas malakas at may kakayahang pumoprotekta sa pamilya. At syempre, kapag may nasira, hindi mo hahayaan na mga babae o ang asawa mong babae ang gumawa nun. Dahil lalaki ka, ikaw ang gagawa nun. Dahil yun ang mas tamang tingnan at katanggap-tanggap. Dahil naman babae ka, alam natin na kapag nagkaroon kayo ng anak, usually, babae ang nag-aalaga. Kapag naman may mga gawaing bahay, dapat ikaw ang mas gumagawa. Yan ang dapat natututunan. Kapag meron kang anak na babae, yan ang pinaka-tinuturo mo. At ang pinakahuli, ikaw ang nagbabudget ng pera. Dahil lumaki tayo na dapat babae ang nagbabudget ng pera. Lagi natin tatandaan na pwedeng gawin ng babae ang ginagawa ng lalaki. Pero sa gender role, because that is your role, ito yung mainam mong gawin dahil ikaw ay lalaki at babae. That is gender role. The fourth one is gender equality. Permits man and woman to have equal enjoyment of human rights. Sa Tagalog, human rights is karapatan ng tao. Alam natin na meron silang equal na karapatan, ang babae at lalaki. Noong unang panahon, mas maraming pribilehiyo ang lalaki. Pero as the time goes by, nagkaroon na tinatawag na human rights. At tinawag natin yung gender equality. Ano ba yung mga bagay na dati, pang lalaki lang, na ginagawa na ngayon ng parehong babae at lalaki? Meron tayong tatlong halimbawa. Unang-una, right to vote. Dati, lalaki lang ang pwedeng bumoto. Pero dahil nagkaroon ng gender equality, in terms of human rights, pwede nang bumoto ang babae at lalaki. Right to study. Dati, lalaki lang ang nag-aaral. Ngayon, parehong pwede na. At ang pinakahuli, right to work. Pareho nang pwedeng magtrabaho ang lalaki at babae. Kung nabuhay tayo noon, lalaki lang ang pwedeng magtrabaho. Pasalamat tayo at may gender equality dahil mas naging patas ang lalaki at babae. Always remember, class, human sexuality is understanding and accepting oneself. That is the true meaning of sexuality. Lalaki ka man, babae, bakla, tomboy, o silahis, As long as tanggap mo ang sarili mo at naiintindihan mo kung sino ka, you have your own sexuality, or what we call human sexuality. To understand better human sexuality, let's watch this video.
Good morning, John. Today, we plumb the depths of the marvelously complex human. But first, allow me to acknowledge that I am not a sociologist. I'm also a straight white man who doesn't have to worry about a lot of the hate that a lot of other people do have to worry about. But my goal with this video is I want people to understand, because I think understanding will lead to less hate and also less self-hate. For a lot of people, it's nice to imagine that humans are simple and that you can know a person's sex and then you will know all sorts of things about them deeply and clearly. And if you don't fit into this nice little box, people who do can get really confused and sometimes even angry. And if you yourself don't fit into one of these nice little boxes and you think that people should, then you end up hating yourself. And that's probably even worse. I think the best and maybe only way to solve this problem is for people to understand that there are no nice shiny boxes. Or if there are shiny boxes, there are an infinite number of them, enough to put all of the people who currently exist, have ever existed, and will ever exist. So, together, let's understand. We're gonna start simple. What's going on down here, in between the legs? That is your sex, your biological sex, and it tends to be binary, though there are all sorts of conditions that result in intersex individuals. And as interesting and complicated as this is, the rest of it is much more complicated, so I'm just gonna move on from here, because we all kind of get what sex is. Now we move on up to the top, to the brain, which is the thing that decides what gender you identify with, whether you feel like a man or a woman or neither or both, because the fascinating thing is, as much as we try to label things, there is no way to label every point on an infinite continuum, and that's what we're dealing with here. So, to actually visualize how this works, I've created a graph for you. On the x-axis, we have gender, male to female, and on the y-axis, we have the intensity of the identification with that gender. I would be about here, because I identify as a man, though I recognize that there are some womany parts of me, but let's also put a hypothetical biological female on the graph that identifies very strongly as a man. Now that can be really uncomfortable, especially when there's a bunch of people in the world who insist on calling him a woman just because of the body that he happens to be very uncomfortable with. Which is why sex does not determine the pronoun you should use. Gender does. Now, moving on to your heart. Your metaphorical heart, of course. This is who you're attracted to. Men, women, all genders. Again, it's a spectrum, and that spectrum includes intensity, because there are people who don't feel strong sexual attraction at all. That's why asexual is a sexual orientation. A newer idea that I was happy to be exposed to yesterday on Tumblr is the idea of romantic orientation. These are the people that you want to have strong, intimate relationships with, but it sort of separates out the idea that sex has to be the goal or end point or like end all and be all of every intimate relationship. Now that we've dealt with how we feel, let's deal with what happens when other people actually get involved. That's sexual behavior, which is actually very different from sexual orientation. Now that might seem a little bit strange at first, but it's not. Consider, for example, a heterosexual priest. That priest's orientation is heterosexual, but because of his religion, his behavior is celibate. Here we're not talking about the preference, we're talking about the behavior. Now built on top of all of this are gender roles, which are built by societies, not by individuals. The obvious ones are masculine gender roles and feminine gender roles, but as all dichotomies are false dichotomies, this one is a spectrum too. Now that we've sort of gone over all of this, it's important to note that every single one of these categories is independent from each other. So a biological female can be a man who only has sex with women despite the fact that he's attracted to both men and women and kind of feels more comfortable in feminine gender roles. That may not be the most common combination of these factors, but it's certainly not weird. And another important point, many people move across these spectrums, sometimes from year to year, sometimes hour to hour. But what's really important is that we trust ourselves, and we understand ourselves, and we love and respect ourselves, and we grant that same understanding and respect to the people around us. Because when the world becomes one of infinite continuums and those false dichotomies break down, and those 2 shiny boxes break apart into 7 billion shiny boxes, that's actually pretty beautiful. John, I'll see you on Tuesday.
That's all, class. I hope you learned something from our lesson. Thank you, and God bless.